They say that?
I heard it once.
Who told you that?
I figured that it just, because you replenish everything.
If you empty out, you replenish.
Yes.
Okay.
You don't want to have backup, You don't want to be backed up.
That makes you into a grandpa.
Really? Oh, if you get backed up.
Yeah, well, no, that's how men become grandpas. They have a baby with old sperm.
Old sperm. We should make something with that.
You want to do an episode called Old Sperm?
Maybe.
Okay. How have you been?
Pretty good. Bored.
Are you working?
No, I've been off, unfortunately.
Oh, wow. Have you managed to avoid Omicron?
Yeah, of course.
Well, I mean, they're saying everybody's getting it, so.
Not me, man. How are you? Obviously, you haven't.
I haven't got it. I've been careful.
So careful, I never leave my room.
Well, I haven't really been leaving the apartment except for when I have to until the surge is over.
The surge. Well, I heard today the surge went down really dramatically.
Yeah.
But next week
here in New York, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've been feeling healthy. Thank goodness.
Good. All right. Should we text each other a bunch of horror titles? I'm not loving any of these.
I hate them all.
Do you hate them all?
Yeah. Can we mix them? Mix and match?
Yeah, do it.
Dracula's dog smokes pot.
I don't hate We Aren't Alive, Susan. All right, you send me some. Let's take a second. Let's just really let's go crazy.
How about Eyes Sewn Open?
Eyes Sewn Open, you want to do that?
That sounds cool.
Okay, all right. So get us started. Why are you laughing like that's not how every episode starts?
Okay. Oh God, I can't think, man.
Okay, all right. So I know you don't like to do teens. You like to.
I never said that.
I know you like a cast of people in their 30s usually.
Yeah.
And I know you typically like it to take place in like either the early 90s or the early aughts. Mm-hmm. So where would you like? What year would you like to put this?
Oh, how about it's Y2K?
Oh, okay. So it's the year 2000.
Well, it's maybe the eve.
Okay. So it's a New Year's Eve party.
Yes.
And we got a couple of friends, young single people in their 30s. Maybe not all single, but these are the close friends. Maybe four. 2 guys and 2 girls. So their names are Stephen, Deborah, Dylan, and Annie. How's that?
That sounds great.
All right. Let's see if we remember that. And they are, they're having their party. It's not a big party. It's like a small get together. Maybe Stephen and Deborah have a kid who's in bed right now. So like these aren't party animals. And Dylan and Annie, they're childless. They're a younger 30 than Stephen and Deborah are. Dylan is going off. He's talking about all of these conspiracy theories. He's saying, Y2K, they want us to think that it's this computing era, that it's just something they didn't account for. You think they didn't account for it? I'll tell you, these people, they account for everything. And this is just going to be some excuse. There's going to be panic in the streets, and that's when they're going to put the microchips in our hands. And then Steven goes, "Hey, Dylan, what are you talking about? Where right now you're here, you're eating a little bologna sandwich, finger foods, you're having champagne. You're not acting like there's about to be pandemonium.
You don't seem so prepared.
Yeah, I think everything's fine, and I think everything's fine. And I work in computing, and trust me, even if the worst case scenario happened, it wouldn't be the end of the world, and it's not. We fixed all the bugs." And Dylan goes, "Yeah, you guys, you take care of you fold all the corners, don't you?"
Wait, well, shouldn't one of them be like overly prepared?
No, I don't. Well, no, I don't. I mean, I think the whole. Okay, well, maybe no. I don't think so. They're at a party. That doesn't make sense. No, they wouldn't be at a party at their friend's house if they were. Dylan is just kind of like a bullshitter. Like, he's like a conspiracy theorist, but he doesn't really believe all this stuff. He kind of just says it to be edgy,
Yeah.
And then Steven is very down to earth. He really doesn't think anything wrong is going to happen. So that's all happening in the living room. And then in the kitchen, Deborah, Steven's wife, and Annie, Dylan's girlfriend, are talking. What are they talking about?
Well, they should be talking about like, how the night's going and everything, and how, like, maybe stuff that they've made to eat and shit. But then the conversation should drift into maybe we should be listening to what's his name? It's Paranoia. Who is it? It's Tyler. Steven.
Dylan. Dylan is paranoid. So you gotta remember, Annie is Dylan's...
I'm really trying to keep track of these characters. So it's Dylan.
I love that because you've literally never done that.
I already called one of them Taylor.
Dylan is the conspiracy guy. Steven is the more down to earth one that works with the computer. Annie is Dylan's girlfriend.
Oh God.
And Deborah is Steven's wife, and they have a kid.
She's dumb as fuck.
Is she?
I want someone to be really dumb.
I think probably Annie would be more dumb.
Okay.
Yeah, because that makes maybe Steven and Deborah don't have a kid, but they're established. They're like, they live like a quiet life. They got a nice place. They're married. They're trying to have a kid. And then Dylan and Annie are like their friends from college who are like, they're a little, it's like a little bit of like, or why are we still hanging out with these two? They're like...
Tonight might be like when you're like, it's just like, you realize like maybe you are not these people's friends anymore. Like maybe you've all moved on,
Absolutely. So that conversation is happening.
Yes, that mood is in the air.
Yeah. And that it's in the air. Very much so in the living room, but it's actually like Steven is willing to humor Dylan a little bit more. But in the kitchen, Deborah and Annie are talking, and like Deborah overhears what Dylan says and says to Annie's like, "You don't really believe all that," and then Annie just says something like far too brain dead for Deborah to like.
Even
digest.
Back her up.
Yeah, like what does Annie say?
Oh God.
We don't have to worry about. But like
But I assure you, it's dumb.
It's very dumb, and Deborah looks at her like, "Oh man."
And wait, who's she married to again?
Who's Deborah's married? Annie and Dylan are dating. I think.
Okay.
I think.
And then we cut to Dylan, and his face just turns red.
No. Dylan is so. I think Dylan's so in his own world. He's so. He just loves to hear himself talk. He loves to just go off about these like conspiracy theories.
Wow, this sounds like one of my friends I really have, and you know who it is.
Say it. I'll cut it out. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, but yeah, so he hears all of that, and he doesn't really he doesn't care, like, he's not tending to what's going on in the kitchen. Deborah and Annie come out of the kitchen, and the ball drops. The ball's starting to drop, and it's 10, 9.
Oh yeah, and then we cut to like Dylan taking out flashlights and shit.
Yeah. He takes out.
He starts handing out flashlights, and
he's like, "We're gonna need these."
Steve's like, "Dude, just watch the television."
Yeah, and it's funny because we have to figure out why this movie is called Eyes Sewn Shut.
No, Eyes Sewn Open.
Eyes Sewn Open, because like we really aren't going from the title this time.
Well, we just started.
Yeah, fair enough. So I think that the ball it goes 10, 9, 8, 7, and then it just crashes down.
No. Okay, but I was gonna say, and when it hits like 6, the lights go out in the whole place.
Yeah. In Times Square, which they're watching on TV.
Well, no, I was thinking just in the house, like everything gets shut off, like they can't see the TV anymore.
Okay, yeah.
And then everyone screams, and Dylan's like, "I fucking knew it!"
And Steven's like, no, this is just a blackout. Listen, trust me, this is not what Y2K was, and even if it was, we took care of it. There is no Y2K. He's like, who's the one who sounds crazy now?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they have the flashlights on. He's like, good thing I got my flashlights.
Yeah. Then should something happen with the flashlights?
Sure.
Maybe they sprout legs.
You love
Yeah,
going.
Jerry, you have to keep your head like one distance from the mic the whole time.
One distance. Got it.
Do you think they should sprout legs and start crawling around like little little spiders that shoot lights from their bellies?
Really, we're just going straight to that.
I always want it.
You go straight to that.
You could tell me no.
I don't want to say no immediately, but let's say hold it for a second.
Okay.
Let's brainstorm one more thing.
Okay. All right. Well, I said something, so you go.
Well, I think everyone should start screaming, and then Steven's like, everyone just shut the fuck up. All right? Listen, if you just shut up for a second, you can hear that there's thunder, and clearly this is an electrical storm problem.
Mm-hmm. So
and
they
Dylan's
they
like,
open,
that's exactly what they want you to think.
then they open up the sky and they see heat lightning.
Yeah, and then Annie's like, but what if it's bombs?
Yeah.
And then everyone's about to say like, you stupid. And then
Well, that's not that dumb.
Exactly. They were like, well,
What
she
if
has a
it is
point.
bombs?
Yeah.
And then Dylan looks out. He goes, "Why is there heat lightning on December 31st?"
Yeah.
Yeah, and he goes, "That's a good point. Why is there heat lightning?" And then Deborah's like, "I'm scared."
And they're like, okay, everyone, because maybe they opened the door. They went on the back porch to look outside for this, and they're like, hey, everyone, just come back inside and let's regroup. And let's just figure out a plan.
And then they hear screaming
From outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, as they're about to like, the last one in line's about to close the door, they hear screaming.
Yeah, they hear screaming. That's coming from the neighbors at one side of them, and then they hear screaming from neighbors on the other side of them.
And then Anne's like, see, and then Steven's like, or the other girl, what's her name? Deborah is like, well, they're probably just screaming because the ball dropped.
That's Annie would say that. Annie's the dumb one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Steven's like, yeah, actually, that could be.
That could be, yeah.
That could be the reason.
Well, no, yeah. Well, but it's like, no, the whole town's, you could see that the power's out all over town. No one saw the ball drop. Something terrible is going on. Then they hear a knock on the door, like a big, like, psh, psh, psh.
Yeah, from the front door, because they were at the back.
And they're like, who the fuck is that? And they open, so Steven's like, you guys stay back here. I'm going to go check. And then Deborah's like, I'm coming with you. He's like, no, you stay back here with Andy. Dylan, you come with me. And Dylan's like,
Annie, you go.
Yeah, I like that. And she goes, really? And he goes, yeah, I think girl, boy, it's a good system.
Yeah.
So, and Steven's like, whatever, just somebody come with me. So Annie and Steven go, and they open up the door, and there's a cop at the door, and he's like 7 feet tall.
Jesus Christ.
And they're like, can we help you? And he goes, Happy New Year. And his arms fall off.
Yes.
And
wait, we have to take a pause for 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. So yeah, his arms fall off, and then I think big, like spider pincers, like come out where his arms were, or I don't know what should happen.
Well, I saw them answer the door, and like the camera just sees like his collar down because he's so tall,
Yeah.
and then we get a shot of them, and there we see them looking up towards him.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get their perspective looking, and then the camera pans up, and as we pan up, we see he's like a dark face, like we can't see his face because it's in shadow because of his hat.
Yeah.
But then he like kind of moves forward into the light, and we can see that his eyes are wide open.
Oh, they're sewn open.
They're sewn open. Well, we just see his eyes really wide open, and then he just collapses. He falls to his knees, and then he's kind of like their level, and then he tumbles over.
Okay. Oh, okay. Then what happens?
They immediately shut the door and scream.
I mean, no. Well, Steven is like not willing to accept the reality of what's going on, so he just saw a cop like collapse. So he just thinks this guy is sick or something.
Yeah.
So maybe he pulls him inside.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And
dude, you gotta keep your head the same place in the microphone.
yeah, and then Dylan's like, "You bringing them fucking in this house?"
Yeah, and they're like, what do you want? The guy just collapsed. He's a cop. But, grab.
And we hear Anne scream from the background. What if?
Jerry.
All right, she doesn't say that.
Okay. They're like, Deborah starts like taking his pulse, and because she's a nurse, let's say, and they go, I got nothing. You're saying he was just standing up a minute ago? This guy seems like he's dead. And then Steven's like, okay, I'm going to try to get his radio working. And he goes to the belt to get the radio. And we see that Dylan is grabbing the gun. And he's like, Dylan, what are you doing? That's a fucking cop's gun. And he's like, yeah, and it might be the only thing that saves our ass tonight.
Yes.
So they turn the radio on. And
turn the radio off. Yeah, well...
You got a song to sing?
You know this song.
Sing it.
I forget the rest of it.
I have no idea what song you're singing.
Lisa Loeb.
Oh, you turn the radio on.
Go on.
You go on. Sing with me.
Yo, she's looking good. Have you seen her?
I was about to ask. Lisa Loeb, hot question mark? But yeah, certainly.
Dude, did not age. Drank the potion.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so they pull the cop in the house, and they're now screaming and yelling over his body.
Yeah. Dylan's got the gun, and then Steven's trying to get his radio to work.
Yeah. So now they're arguing over like what's going on, where they should run or not, stay put. And as they're standing off to the side yelling about this, Anne starts creeping closer to the cop.
Okay.
And now she's like looking down on his face, and then now we see her have her back to the camera, and she goes, "Guys," and they don't hear her. She's like, "Guys," they don't hear her. She's like, "Guys," and they're like, "What?" And she goes, "Look," and then they all rush over, and they see that his eyes have been sewn open.
Yeah. Okay. Why is this happening?
Why is this happening?
I mean, that's for us to figure out, I suppose. Okay, so they get the radio going, and they hear a cop on the other on the other side go, "Hello." Wait, is that how?
13864, 13864, come in 13864.
Yeah, yeah, and they're like, I don't know what that means. Listen, officer down. This cop he showed up on my porch. He collapsed, and they go, who is this? And they go,
Identify yourself.
He goes, my name is Steven Shlonishky.
Sir, say that again.
Steven Shlonishky. I live at 422 Rendezvous Avenue. Come quick. And they go, Steven, calm down. What's the we need more information. What's the officer's name? It should be on his badge. And they look at his badge, and it says Satan.
Well, they're just like, it's Officer Braninsky or something like that.
Yeah, this is a very Polish part of town.
Yeah, I like this theme.
Yeah. And they go, okay, what we want you to do is everybody go out to the front yard, hold your hands behind your backs, and stick out your eyes. He goes, what? He goes, stick out your eyes.
No. Okay, I got it. So they're like, what should we do? They're like, we're sending help on the way, but they're like, what should we do in the meantime? They're like, and it's kind of like muffled, like just coming in and out, like, they're like, we want you just to go outside and wait for the arriving officers. But I also need you.
Wait. We hear that, but we're also hearing other voices, and it's like demonic voices.
Yeah, like,
and it's like, no, it sounds like, we want you to see us.
Yeah.
We want you to see us.
Well, yeah, but then the really clear part of it is like the instructions from the dispatcher. She's saying, we need you to go outside and we need you to remove any glasses or eyewear.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? And then it just cuts out.
No. Then Dylan shoots the radio.
Yeah. Wait, he has a gun? Oh, yeah, from the cop.
Yeah. And they go, we could have just turned it off.
He's like, well, I also want to see if it was loaded.
And then the cop grabs Dylan's leg. He goes, give me my sidearm.
And then he pulls Dylan close. He goes, I can see them in my death.
Yeah. And then we see from the cop's point of view. And from outside the window, we see these like transparent, like floaty, like ghost devils scratching at the window.
Yes.
They almost look like red sperm with
Wait a minute.
paws.
No. I have a way to tie this in.
Yeah.
It's electrical. You know, it's Y2K. So I think that these things should be coming out of the computers.
That's the thing is I think Y2K, like, I think it's not actually Y2K. It's just the year 2000. This is just this is just a prophecy. It's just Dylan thinks this is Y2K.
Oh, yes, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
Y2K was a diversion. Like a smoke screen that.
Well, so like 2000. So our calendar is based on it's the Christian calendar. It's based on like that's when I guess Christ was born, or is it when he died?
Gregorian calendar. It's 2,000 years since his death. Yeah.
Well, let's say roughly. Yeah, it's roughly. So maybe it. Maybe like there's all those stories in the Bible of Jesus driving devils out of people. Maybe
scapegoats.
What?
Scapegoating. That's where the word comes from.
When he puts them in the.
He used to put demons inside goats and then send them off into the desert. These poor goats.
Well, anyway.
Should they be goats that come back?
No, they're not goats. I don't think they should be goats. but maybe he did something. Oh, I don't know. Like, why do the demons want to be seen? Is like the question. That has to be something about the prophecy.
Because they're sick and tired of people not believing them. Because it's like the age of technology. Man has moved past religion.
So tie that to the year 2000.
Well, I feel like in the 90s, like Satan and the devil. I mean, God and the devil.
Yeah, but why?
We're still at war.
What is the significance of New Year's Eve, 1999? Like, why is this happening at the stroke of midnight in the year 2000?
Maybe like the devil made a contract with God that he only had 2,000 year reigning rights.
I think something had to happen in like Jesus times that made it to like make it so demons don't walk the earth.
It's like a moratorium, 2,000 years.
Yeah. There was. I don't know. This is tricky. Okay, don't worry.
We'll just use the word contract.
Yeah, we'll figure out the backstory, or we won't going forward. But
That's an amazing story.
Yeah, maybe it's yeah. Okay, Jerry, I'm in a spiral. Pull me out.
I'm helping you, man. I got my hand out, and you're saying now.
No, suck me out.
All right, backtrack. The voice on the radio before it was shot said, "Go outside, remove all eyewear," and then it cut out.
Yes.
The radio was shot. They're all like, "What the fuck did you do that for?" Blah blah blah. Yes.
Okay. So, people in the time of antiquity, did they wear glasses? No. They didn't need them.
Well, I think the Romans actually invented them, but anyway.
Shut up. And so what Jesus did, because he was driving demons out, is he said, no more demons, no more bothering people. And the way I'm going to do it...
You made Jesus sound very Jewish right there.
Well, he was Jewish. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to do this miracle that starts degrading people's vision. Because only people with very, very good eyesight can see demons. So if everyone's eyesight gets a little worse, no one can see demons. And if you can't see demons, they can't really interact with you. They can't really have power over you.
Yeah, they're like T-Rexes. If they don't see you, you don't see them. Oh, wait.
Well, reversed. Yes. So that's worked, but... that miracle, it has a 2,000-year shelf life. So now, that should be a thing. Okay, so Annie, let's say, Deborah.
I like that. I like that because it kind of plays in with the whole computer thing. It had it was going to reset 2000. Same thing with this God spell is going to reset in the year 2000.
And Deborah wears glasses.
Yes.
And that should be a scene at some point. Is someone knocks the glasses off of Deborah and she realizes she can see perfectly without them now, or she just can't see with her glasses on because her eyesight is completely corrected.
Yeah, she's like, I'm starting to get headaches, so she takes her glasses off, and then she's like, wait a minute, I can see.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. But you know what? She does it. Okay, never mind. All right, so we have to fit that all somewhere. But let's keep moving from this scene. So they just got that message from the demons pretending to be cops, saying to remove all eyewear and stand outside, promptly wait for assistance.
Yeah, and no one's into it except Annie.
Well, Dylan shoots the radio. The cop grabs Dylan's leg. We see the demons through the cop's eyes. Everyone else's eyesight hasn't caught up quite yet. It's happening. So the miracle is wearing off. Because even someone with 20/20 vision, their eyesight is still not what human eyesight was like 2,000 years ago. So that's also something we could play with. Like everyone's just like throughout the night starts noticing that their eyesight is getting better.
So you're saying people 2,000 years ago had really good eyes?
Yeah, yeah, but they were so good that was like that was a entrance for demons, and that's how Jesus, like in his last miracle, before coming back to life,
I will give the world macular degeneration.
Yeah, no, that was so that humans could like progress as a civilization without the machinations of demons.
Yes, I love this angle. It's really funny, actually.
Well, that's what happens. You have to get really contrived.
Apparently.
Okay, all right. So take it.
Well, I just really want Annie to be like, she said we should go outside. And
Yeah.
like, why would you listen to that voice on the radio? Obviously, it's something to do with this.
And she goes, "It's a police officer." And they're like, "Annie, shut up."
Shut the fuck up.
And Dylan says, "Don't talk to her like that." And
But
she
you
goes,
should shut up.
Yeah. So Deborah's doing CPR because there's a guy that just died, and she's a nurse, and she. So what happens then?
Well, there should be another disturbance from the outside.
Oh yeah. So they hear there's more. There's just crazy noises going on everywhere. There's probably some gunshots going on, and then maybe they realize they're like, wait, how can we? Dylan, Annie goes, "Dylan, can you go upstairs and grab my nursing kit? I need to try to save this guy." And Dylan goes, "Yeah, sure thing." And he gets up and he starts walking to the stairs and he goes, "Wait a minute. How can I? It's pitch black in here. All the lights are off. How am I able to see everything?" And they all kind of notice, like, "Oh,
Yeah,
wow."
Did you guys notice we haven't been using our flashlights?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's that weird movie lighting where it's like the blue light to signify darkness, but like you can still see everything,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The day for night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really stalling out. I did too much work on the myth making, and now the actual plot. I'm really having trouble going.
You had him go upstairs.
So he goes upstairs, and he grabs the bag. And
what bag?
The nursing bag, which
yeah.
is the thing I assume is real. And it's in the bathroom. He gets it from the linen closet, and then he turns and he looks in the mirror, and that's a fake out because we think we're going to see something scary in the mirror, but actually there's a window right next to the mirror, and that's when we see one of these like devil ghosts bang itself against the window, and he sees that, and he sees it very faintly. It's translucent, and then it kind of like fades out because his eyesight isn't done correcting itself. It kind of fades out of existence, and he goes, "Oh shit, I'm going crazy." And then he marches back down. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know if this should come now or later, but as he goes back downstairs, he's like, he's like, okay, now something is going. He's like trying to explain what just happened to him very calmly, because he's Steven.
Mm-hmm.
And then he notices that Dylan, right, the other guy?
Yeah.
Dylan is like, he's like, wait, where's Dylan? And they're like, Dylan? He's like, I'm over here. And he's over sitting on the couch by himself in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got his hands over his eyes. And they're like, what's wrong? He's like, I don't know. I feel like this intense pressure on my eyes. Do you guys feel that?
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you talking about? So they go over and they look and they pull his hands away from his eyes. And now his eyes are swollen. It's almost like they're closing. Like he has poison ivy or something.
Okay, yeah. It's like a physical reaction to too much visual stimulus.
Yes. Or
yeah.
whatever. They don't know. And now they're freaking out. They're like, "Oh my god!" So we get him ice. So they bring him to the kitchen. They put ice on his eyes, and he's like, "Oh, it's burning. It's not. It's making it worse." And then they're like, "Give him milk. Put milk on him." So they put milk on a rag and they put it on his eyes. He's like, "That's not helping. Please stop. Just leave me alone." And then, do you think that another one of them should have gotten infected? I'm trying to get to the point that somehow they are. Should I just say it? We're gonna
Say it.
Well, I want it to the point where they're the ones that are actually stitching their eyes open. You know?
No, I don't think so. I don't like that. I think the thing
No,
is,
because God is trying to close their eyes and the devil's trying to keep them open.
I think the demons are trying to stitch their eyes open.
Oh. But
Yeah.
I think it'd be more psychotic if they're self-inflicting their wounds. And
Well,
we
I
don't-
think maybe they, like, the craziest of them should be trying to stitch their eyes closed.
No, because what's her name is a nurse, and she's like, we're gonna have to stitch his eyes open because they can they start looking closer and they can see
Why
that
would they want to stitch his eyes open? Just let his eyes close.
No, because they see that they're welding themselves together. The skin is actually adhering to itself. And then so like she takes out a razor blade and she almost performs it's like a tracheotomy on his eyeballs.
Okay, I like that.
You
So,
know?
oh god, this is a brutal scene,
Right?
And one of the eyes one of the eyes she fucks up because she's not a surgeon, and she actually cuts the eyeball right open.
Yeah.
And
That'll be
he's screaming, "Ah," and with the other eyes. So
and then
now
she's
he's
like,
got-
"Anne, find me thread." So
Yeah,
Annie's
yeah.
running around. She finds the thread, and they literally this 10-minute scene of like her stopping the skin from adhering to itself, opening it up, accidentally cutting his eye, and then stitching his eyeballs open.
well, just one of his eyes is stitched open because the other eye is like
wounded.
fucked up.
Yeah.
And then he's screaming with his eye stitched open, and there's just like eye pus falling out of the other eye. And while that's happening, the 7-foot tall cop, wakes up and he walks into the room, and now he's 10 feet tall, and his eyes are white, and he looks at Dylan and he goes, "Brother, can't you see them? They're beautiful. Oh, let them in."
and then his eyes just explode.
I think he should start attacking them.
But yeah, his eyes explode. Their blood goes everywhere. They scream, and then he starts going for them with these gaping wound eyes.
Yeah. That just keeps shooting blood. And then Dylan takes the gun and fires the whole fucking magazine into the guy.
Yeah.
And he does fall back.
Yeah. And then Steve's like, "You just shot a cop. We're fucked. We're fucked."
I don't think. No, I think maybe Annie is, because everyone else realizes
this is not normal.
Yeah. But then Dylan goes, "He's right. I can see them." And then we see from Dylan's point of view, like he can see, he looks out the back, and it's just full of these these flying demon creatures. And he goes, "Those things, they want in our eyes." No, he doesn't know that yet.
Well, should we use a cheesy metaphor like the eyes are a window to the soul?
That is brilliant, but we shouldn't say it yet.
No, we don't literally say it, but that's like
No. At some point, we should say that.
Okay.
But because this isn't a smart movie, but they shouldn't know that yet, because they have to be foolishly sewing the eyes open.
Yes.
Because if they knew that demons were trying to get into their eyes,
Yeah, they wouldn't be doing that.
they would sew them closed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they don't realize that they're being forced closed from the good.
And that's when that is like God is trying to
Save
irritate their eyes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, now they should be arguing over this.
Wait. You know what the thing was? Dylan is the only one of them that's Catholic, and that's what christening does.
It prevents this.
It makes your eyes allergic to it. It like reinforces the spell
Of shutting or opening.
of it, like it makes your eyes more. It makes it so like when this spell wears off, like your eye, like it makes your eyes like allergic to being that good at seeing. I don't know. This is all mythology that we might be able to fit in there.
Yeah, yeah.
If we can. At some point, we should have a demon maybe explaining himself like that.
Okay, we'll put that on the side burner for now.
Like doing like a soliloquy or something.
Yeah, so they should all be like arguing over shooting the cop and everything, and then reiterating that like something crazy is going on, and then all of a sudden Steven goes, "Shh, shh, you hear that? Wait, shut, listen, and then you hear faint cries coming from the other the living room again.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "Where's Annie? Where's Annie?" So then they go in there. They're like, "Ann, what's wrong?" And she's like, "Just leave me alone." She's like, They're like, "Annie, it's okay. He wasn't really a cop. He was even." She's like, "It's not that." They're like, "What is it?" And then she takes her hands from her face and like, moves into the light. Well, there's no light, but she moves so we can see, and we can see that her eyes are now swelling up. And she goes,
I don't think they are. I think she just has her hands over her eyes, and she goes, "My eyelids, I can see through them. I can't stop seeing. I can't keep them out."
"Oh, well, yeah, okay." She could say that, but also she can say, "I think she." I think she says, "I can't open my eyes," and her eyes are completely glued shut. It's just like solid skin.
Okay, yeah, all right, yeah, but do we want to do that scene with Dylan over and over again?
No. But they don't do the surgery on her because now Deborah is like.
Also, that doesn't really make sense. Why wouldn't Deborah just let his eyes close?
Well, they saw like skin forming. They're like got nervous,
Yeah, and they go, "Yeah, I can't." Even then, just chill out until you can get him to a hospital. Don't fucking do kitchen surgery. That's a crazy scene.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
It's really good.
It is. It is a good scene, but why?
Because the metal kit there, the knowledge, everything.
Okay, fair enough. You love it. It doesn't make any sense, but let's keep it in.
But this is good. This is if Deborah or Annie's eyes get glued shut, skinned over shut, then we have reason to make the dumbest one of the group the only survivor at the end.
Okay, well, maybe, but then they should say, like, "Listen, we shouldn't have done that. I panicked, but we should have just waited till this is over and we could get them to a surgeon." And then Dylan goes, "Yeah, what the fuck? You cut my eye out, you crazy bitch." And then Steven goes, "Don't you talk to her like that." And then Dylan's like, "What are you
If you saw
talking
what
about?"
we saw, you would have done it too.
Yeah. And he's like, "I bet I wouldn't, because I'm seeing it right now on my girlfriend, and I'm not touching her fucking face."
Yes. And they're like, okay. Now they're like, okay, we need to get us all out of here and get to a hospital.
I have to use the bathroom. Let's take a 2-minute intermission and think about where you want to take this.
Got it. Go.
Okay, I'm back.
Yay.
Did you think of anything?
No.
I knew it. Okay, so where'd we leave off? Okay, yeah. So they just yelled. Yeah. Okay,
They're saying we got to get to the hospital.
Okay, yeah. So they all load into. This is crazy. They all load into Steven's station wagon, and they start driving to the hospital. Now, all throughout the streets, we just see people being, attacked by, like, invisible monsters. But, like, every couple seconds from Steven's point of view, we can see, like, the monster, the devils, like, flashing into existence, and it like fucks him up, and like, he jerks the wheel for a second, and like Deborah's like, "What is it? What's wrong?" He's like, I don't, I don't know. I just want this nightmare to be over. And then he sees like one of the devils right in front of the car for a second, and he stops short, and it disappears. But Deborah's glasses go flying off, and they break, and she goes, "Oh, damn it! I'll be his." And then she goes, "What the hell, Steven? I can see without my glasses." And he goes, "What the fuck is happening to our eyes?"
Yes. Wait, what was the name of the movie again?
Eyes Sewn Open.
Okay. We'll have to save that titular for later.
Yeah. And they go to they you know, so they start driving. They get to the hospital. The hospital is a nightmare. A bunch of people are driving there, and like there's just people standing outside of it who have poked out their eyes. People are just bleeding from their faces.
Yes.
So they're like, they're not going to be able to help us. And then all of a sudden, Steven's eyesight comes on completely, and he sees fucking demons everywhere, and he books it, and he starts driving, and he's driving so fucking fast, and you know, Dylan's all fucked up, but out of his open eyes, he goes, I see him too, and Deborah goes, see what? What do you see? And because her eyes started off the most fucked up, they haven't corrected enough yet to be able to see the demons. And then they crash. They crash. Where do they crash, Jerry?
Into a telephone pole.
Into a telephone pole. So they get out of the car. There's possessed people too on the street. So paint us a scene there. Maybe there's like people from like from a New Year's party, and they've all been just like eating each other. They got blood all over their faces, and they're just carrying human limbs. And they run, and Steven says, maybe they run into a church. Steven goes, "There's St. Michael's down the street. Let's go there." And they're like, "Whatever. Any place they'll provide some shelter." So they run there, and they bang on the door, and this old priest lets them in, and then he rebarricades the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes, "Well, what happens then?" Because the priest is going to explain to them what happens, I think. But we need to work our way there.
Well, yeah, we see the priest, on his knees praying towards the altar, and they slowly approach him.
No, the priest had to let them in because it's barricaded.
Oh, well, that destroys my idea.
Well, maybe another priest is doing that.
Okay. Yes. The head honcho priest. The deacon.
Mm-hmm.
He's like praying, and the younger priest is like, "Father, I found survivors."
Mm-hmm.
And then the other priest is just like in deep prayer, and then we hear him say, "No one believed us." Now I don't know what the fuck he says.
Yeah, that's not something like Catholics were talking about every weekend. Oh, by the way, Jesus put a spell on your eyes, and it's gonna wear off in a few months.
I told you so.
Maybe he goes, we kept the hidden knowledge because we did not believe, and now the world suffers.
Yes, and as he's saying this, he's holding these two golden crosses in his hand, and he's talking to them, and he's like giving them kind of like a really like heartfelt speech about how like man deserves this almost because they didn't, everyone strained away from the church. And then they're like, "Well, what can we do, Father, to stop them?" And he goes...
He turns around, his eyes are sewn shut, and he goes, "I don't think you'll like the answer."
Yeah, and he just takes the two crosses and scratches his eyeballs open, and blood just comes out, pouring out of these wounds. And they all just like, "Wah!" They start screaming. and he falls to the ground.
That's pretty terrible.
It's pretty insane.
Yeah.
Clearly, they're not going to stay in that church.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah, I love it.
I don't know, but it doesn't make sense.
It does, because he's just like, fuck this.
Okay.
It doesn't. You wanted to have flashlights, sprout legs, and run around the house.
I still want that. Okay. But no, we want him to explain the story, so maybe his eyes are just shut. Or no,
Well, that's
maybe
what he says when he's like giving his heartfelt talk.
No, I think he just has his eyes sewn shut. You know what? In the eventually, when we actually make the movie, we could decide which scene to do.
Okay.
But either way, either he's stabbed himself in the eyes with a cross, or he's sewn them shut. He explains basically the backstory that we came up with.
Yes.
So they
Oh,
realize,
and that'd be cool to have a flashback to like biblical times.
Yeah, and they explain that the reason. Well, why are Dylan and Annie's eyes like sealing themselves shut? That's because of the christening.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Where Stephen's Jewish, so he's not christened, and that seems anti-Semitic. Let's not do that. He doesn't come from a religious family.
He's atheist.
Yeah, and Deborah is her eyes are just not that good yet, so there's no need for that reaction. But maybe it's not about. Yeah, I don't know, because it's so many. Most people in America are Christian and have been baptized, so like it doesn't make sense that like the whole town would be having this problem. So maybe we don't tie it to that. Maybe it has something to do with belief or something. I don't know. Why is it happening? Why are some of them having their eyes weld shut and others aren't?
Well, you said that's what's happening, so very much that's why it's happening.
No, you fucking did that. You made it so Dylan's eyes were going shut and Annie's, and I protested against both those moves. So make it make sense.
I think it's just I don't know. I mean, well, I have to think about this.
Yeah, you have to think when you're making a story. It can't all just be cool visuals.
Or can it? It's I mean, maybe it just hasn't happened to them yet.
But why is that happening?
Oh, maybe if they see a demon, then it doesn't happen to them.
Okay, so it's like an immune response. But
Yeah.
once the demon is in there,
Because in this sick world, having your eyes sewn shut is, skinned over is a good thing.
Yeah.
That's what's cool about this story.
Okay, all right.
Bad is good and good is bad.
So, what happens next?
Well, the priest cut his eyes open, right?
No, he sewed them shut. Why would he want them open?
Because he's given in. He's feel like he failed.
So he wants the demons in his eyes?
Yeah. Oh, and that's when we first see that the demons go into your eyeballs.
Oh, maybe he's like a dark priest. He's like a satanic priest, and like he infiltrated the church as part of this 2,000-year-long plan.
Okay.
What do you think of that?
Sure. I mean, better than what we got.
I mean, it makes sense, sort of.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So he cuts his eyes, wide. Oh, he's sewn his eyes open. Obviously, he's sewn his eyes open. He explains like he explains like the swelling is like God's last attempt to keep your eyes shut, to keep man and demon apart from one another, but we'll take our fate into our own hands and sew our eyes open.
Mm-hmm.
And then he turns around. His eyes are sewn open. His eyes are full red, and that means that the demons are full. And then he grows 7 feet tall, like the cop was.
Mm-hmm.
And he grabs Steven and throws him across the room
Into the pews.
into the pews. Yeah, and Annie's like, "What's going on? I can't see anything." And Dylan can like kind of see, but like he's bleeding out of his one eye. And then Dylan kind of starts trying to fight him, but the fucking giant devil priest is like beating the shit out of Dylan. And then Deborah comes up from behind with a plate of holy water and just like pours it down the back of the priest's shirt, and he starts like melting.
Mm-hmm.
And then the demons fly out of the priest's eyes and fly across the room into Stephen's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And Stephen looks up, and his eyes are just like faintly red because they haven't taken hold yet. And he goes, "What happened?" And they go, and Dylan's like, "They're in you, buddy." And he's like, "Oh my God. Okay. All right. Well, you gotta kill me." And they're like, "We can't do that." I don't know, Jerry. Help me out. I almost just called you Pete, which is very weird because I don't even have someone I talk to regularly named Pete.
Weird.
Yeah.
Well, he's like, if you could see what I've seen, you'd understand. Kill me.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And we do get glimpses of what he sees.
Yeah. What does he see?
Well, the mushroom scene from Natural Born Killers?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah, it's not good.
Not good.
And Deborah's like, "No, we can save you." And he's like, "Save me? How?"
Yeah, so no one's actually, because they're not gonna like kill him. So he just like, he starts feeling around and he finds the big metal cross that the priest had in his hand, and he just stabs himself in the eyes repeatedly.
Okay, yeah, and it's actually causing like, it's actually burning his eyes. It's not just stabbing.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like it's almost like they're 400 degrees. You know, that's what it look, because the demonic nature is reacting to the cross.
Mm.
And now he's blind, Annie's blind, Dylan's half blind, and Deborah can see.
Yes.
But now there's also this young priest who is like, I did not know that that this priest was a devil, man. I don't know. He's like a little Italian guy.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, and they're like, doesn't matter. What can we do? What can we do? And he's like, there is only one thing to do. And what's that one thing? No, he goes, we have to get it to the Vatican. And he goes, we can't get to the Vatican. Half of us are blind or half blind.
I don't even have a passport.
They're like, well, there's one other thing we can do. And he goes, what? He goes, we have to figure out a way to blind everybody.
Yes.
How do they do that?
Showed them naked pictures of you.
Oh, come on. I've been working out.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah. This is a dumb story.
Dude, so stupid. It's been going on for an hour and 10 minutes.
Well, I'll edit it down to 5 minutes.
Nice.
Like maybe some kind of like bomb. I don't know.
Uh, Maybe they raid the hunting store and buy a bunch of pepper spray, like the bear kind, the bear spray.
Okay, yeah. So, but so
And
oh,
but
so Deborah says, okay, all I have to do. Deborah and Dylan are the only ones that can see at all right now. So they're like, okay, all we have to do is just make our eyesight a little bit worse, and we should be more or less immune. How do we do that?
why
And
don't they just
and
close their eyes?
because they need to get around
Mm,
to end this all, right?
yeah.
Oh, but you know what? Maybe it just turns out that oh, there maybe why is it up to them to end it all, to
Yeah.
take care of this is just some random fucking people, so they're like talking about it, and all of a sudden there's this big explosion outside, and they look out and it's this bright light in the sky. The government has set off a
Pepper bombs.
controlled nuclear explosion in the sky
Mm.
to blind everyone.
Oh. Yes. Don't look at the flash.
Yeah. Next morning, everyone is just feeling around.
Yes. Crawling everywhere.
The entire country is blind. The rest, a couple other countries did the same thing. And then a lot of the world is still having demon problems. But, because it's a hard call. Do you blind everybody or do you let this pandemonium happen? The United States has chosen to blind everybody.
I'm a little confused because I thought that everyone was getting their eyes sewn shut already. Like they were closing.
I'm a little confused too. So maybe those are the only people that can still see. Well, yeah, okay. So some people chose to. Oh, okay, all right. So another thing that's happening throughout the night is the possessed. Oh, when they go to the hospital earlier, there's a bunch of possessed doctors and nurses that are sewing people's eyes open.
Yes. Oh, that'd be great. And they go into the room and see it.
Yeah.
Because you know how doctors let you observe operations.
Yeah. No, they're doing it outside.
Yeah, they're doing it right there in the waiting room.
No, just right outside the hospital.
Great.
Okay. Oh, great. Back to right. So yeah, the thing was happening where people's eyes were being sewn shut. So that has happened to about a quarter of the population, but it wasn't, it wasn't happening fast enough. So that bomb went off. Now everyone is blind either from, their eyes sealing up on their own or from the controlled nuclear explosion. And there's also but there's still a possessed portion of the population. So now we are with Deborah. We're still with the people, and there's just we can see them. They're all blind, and they're trying to, they're all holding hands so that they can form a snake and feel their way around town. And they they run into other people, and they're like, listen, some people didn't have were away. They were away from the explosion, and they're still possessed. You have to watch out. So now there's a situation where you have this blind population, but you also have some roving, possessed demon maniacs.
Yes. That would have been a good name for the show.
Yes. All right, take it from there.
Well, I'm still confused, but so
It's very confusing.
See, I think that this movie should end with them thinking that they're doing something good, but it's really the opposite of what good was, you know?
Okay, so what would that be?
That they go around helping everyone stitch their eyes open. But that's exactly what the demons want.
We have to go back
I
so
know.
far to do that.
Well, we just have to cut out the priest part. With them seeing the demons flying in. The priest just, gouges
I don't know. Yeah, listen, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. But it necessitates this going on much longer.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back and let's.
Oh, okay. Instead of the priest stabbing himself in the eyes or whatever, we see him. He has his back to us the whole time, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And he turns around, and he's been stitching his his eyelids open.
Okay, yeah.
No, but he wants us. No, he's been stitching. No, I'm confused.
I think we just are where we are. So, so there's still some demons. Everybody's blind. The military's in town, but they're spread thin because they're in every town.
Yeah.
But like there is. Okay, all right. So they're trying to get home. And then what happens?
They obviously.
Oh,
yes. What?
Well, maybe we just cut to a few weeks later.
Yeah. Love.
Stephen wakes up in his bed, his eyes burnt out of his face, and he wakes up next to his wife, and they're both blind now, but everybody is, and life goes on. So he grabs his cane. There's like a cane shortage, so they have to share one, and he feels his way out, and he goes to he goes outside, and he can't really drive to work, so this bus comes by.
There's work?
Yeah, life is getting back to normal. But guess who's driving? Maybe it's like 6 months later.
Okay.
But guess who's driving the bus?
The demon.
A demon. Because they're the only ones that can see. But they've been like tamed somehow. They have these like control collars on.
They're like, we enjoy your sense of economic stability and work ethics.
I don't think that sentence was well constructed.
No.
Or thought out. But I think they're just, I think the military has kind of, just formed martial law. I don't really know.
This movie sucks. I think it should just end with Annie just getting her head chopped off.
Maybe, okay, go back. There's the big explosion in the sky. It blinds everybody. It mutates the demons. No, it blinds everybody, but it doesn't work out because there's still some amount of demon-possessed people, ushering a new age of a demon kingdom on Earth filled with blind people. So like now we've cut like 10 years in the future, or like 5 years in the future, and our protagonists are just these like blind slaves that work the like mines for their demon masters.
Yeah, but the people on Earth who have been blind their whole life, they should be kings.
Well, no, because the demons are kings.
But what about the people who know how to navigate life already?
They're just the most efficient slaves?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you can't argue with the demon.
Yeah, they're super powerful. So that's happening now. How is Annie going to provide some amount of hope for the future?
Um, I mean, I don't think she can. There's nothing redeemable about this movie.
Well, help me out. I've given us 3 different endings. Give me one. None of them have been good, but I'm trying my damnedest.
I think Annie should fall in love with a demon, have sex with it, and spawn some kind of new demon god. Hybrid. Hercules thing.
That seems really out of left field.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
Remember the good old days when we had armoires attacking people? Those are good stories.
Listen, we're getting back there.
Yeah.
We're rusty. Maybe the flashlights come to life.
They were fleshlights the whole time.
Okay. Fleshlight, if it wasn't a thing, would be such a good name for a movie.
Yeah. Oh my god, right?
We need to end this. We need a tight ending for this movie. Like, it's obviously such a bad movie from
I
beginning
think
to
that
end.
there should be a big zoom out of like the town. It, like, you know, it's like you start to get like the Google Earth view
Yeah.
of the town. And then all of a sudden we're flying across the United States, and we're like going across the ocean, and now we're like over in China, and now we're going down into China, and we're going into some fucking teenage hackers' bedrooms, and they've been doing this somehow.
No, I don't want to do this bullshit anti-Chinese propaganda.
Come on.
No way.
Okay.
All right.
This is not going to be an episode. This is just for fun.
No, this is absolutely an episode.
No.
We just need to make it a movie. Like, we need to fucking end this. We need to wrap this up. Like, maybe the bomb didn't go off. Maybe we're back. Everyone's blind. Except Deborah and Dylan's half blind. What do we do from there?
I really don't know, man. I'm burnt out on the story.
Okay. All right. I'm just going to fucking power us through.
Do it, please, and I will love every second of it.
Okay. So, the government drops the bomb, blinds everybody. The demons, some amount live. But then we have another 20 minutes of the movie that takes place during the day, where we're still following our initial 4 people as they blindly fight their way through town, hiding from demons. Obviously they're getting picked off left and right. But come on, keep pushing. Until finally, it turns out that Dylan was right about the Y2K thing.
Yes.
And the computers start to malfunction in such a way that lets out this malfunction in such a way that corrupts the mainframe.
Yeah.
Okay, help me out.
I don't even know where you are.
Oh, yeah, me neither. Please, Jerry, say words.
Y2K, mainframe,
Okay, so
programmer.
So, yeah, Dylan was right all along, and he's like, oh no, he has provisions. So he brings them down to his Y2K bunker, and Steven's like, if you had all this, why weren't you spending New Year's here anyway? And he's like, I thought, fuck it. And then they have the young priest there, and they're like, well, okay, so how long will this end? Will this last? And he goes, oh, this is the foretold upon dark age after the miracle, go after the miracle ends, but before the second coming. And they're like, so when's the second coming? He goes, oh, another 1,000 years. And they're like, wait, what? And they're like, the priest is like, yeah, it's gonna be, we had a good 2,000 years with no demons, and now we have 1,000 years with demons. It's actually a pretty good bargain when you
Because
think
then we get
about it.
another 2,000 years after that.
And they're like, oh my God. And he's like, well, we have beans and we have all sorts of provisions, so settle in.
The end.
And the end. We have beans. That's the worst movie we've made,
Oh,
without a doubt.
let's just erase it. Come on.
No, it's an episode.
Oh, God, you're so embarrassing.
Hey, listen, you don't want it to suck. You gotta try harder.